welcome to Gowders Are on the Go. I'm Paul Gowder. Today I want to tell you about our recent trip to Podfest Expo down in Orlando, Florida. This is a meetup, a conference for podcasters all over the world to come together, learn from each other, and network. It took place January 25th through the 28th, the Wyndham Orlando on International Drive. This was their 10th anniversary and my second year going. So I want to give you a few of the lessons, few of the takeaways I came home with, and we just want to share with you. So number one is something my friend Lou Mongello said. Now, I've heard Lou speak several times, and even when you hear some of the same points brought up, they hit you differently at different times. And Lou started his talk with a really profound, at least for me, a profound statement. Lou's been podcasting WDW radio for years, literally over 500 episodes, millions of downloads. And he started his whole talk by saying, we are all just making it up as we go along. And sitting in a room full of people listening to a session, going to other sessions where people are offering these step-by-step tutorials, and here's how I, got 1 million downloads, or here's how I got sponsors for my podcast. To hear somebody with his experience say, we're all just making this up as we go along, one, made me feel a lot better about what I've been doing the last 20 years, but also kind of relaxed me a little bit in the conference and as a whole, and said, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, this is what I needed to hear. I've built a course on how to, build your email list and do things with giveaways. I'm working on a course about how to do email marketing. And he's right, though. I may be able to tell you what's worked for me and show you some ways that I think you can succeed. But he's right. On a day-by-day basis, on a project-by-project basis, we're making this up as we go along. There is no written rules, and the rules keep changing. So it is really important to remember that we're all in this together, and we're all learning and growing at the same time. Takeaway number 2. I attended several sessions, and at last year's podcast, Podfest Expo, I had the same kind of reaction. I went to a few sessions, and while there was, I took away some notes and I learned a few things in these sessions, for the most part, I found that the sessions weren't as valuable as the other exchanges I was having. So somebody I heard this weekend say the best session they went to was the hallway session. And I think that is so true of many conferences. And my friend Lou's talked about it before. It is the conversations that you have out in the hallway. It is the conversations you have maybe at your lunch table. So I'll tell you a couple of things I did that really helped me this time at Podfest Expo. One is, like, for example, after Lou spoke, there was a lot of people hanging around, not just asking Lou questions, but kind of hanging around in small groups and asking questions and, talking about what we had just heard. All these conversations that are happening are people that are in the room. They're just like you. They may have gotten the same kind of light bulb went off when they heard something that the speaker said. And so these are conversations that are going to be really important to you and people that are in that same situation with you. So yeah, I mean, there were some people that came up to me afterwards and asked me some questions, and I heard some other conversations happening and was able to, they kind of like, here, come over, let's talk about this. So that's one place you got to, kind of hang out after the sessions and listen to what is being kind of bantered back and forth, the takeaways of that one session. But then also out in the hallways, I ran into some folks that I had met before or that I had seen and wanted to talk to, and so was able to introduce myself to a few people and really kind of get some ideas from them or ask them some questions. Even some of the vendors I was able to have a long conversation with. For the people with Rode, for example, I had some microphone questions, and so we had this long conversation, really dove deep into it. So that was a great place. That wasn't a scheduled session. It was just something that happened. And then also they had a room set up with just tables, kind of a networking room. And we were able to sit down and, some of my friends we all sat down, but people came by and joined in the conversation, left, or people would walk by and introduce themselves, and we would be able to, kind of talk about their show or what questions they had and what they're struggling with. And maybe we were able to ask some questions. So Yes, when you go to a conference, look at the schedule, find what sessions that you think you can learn the most from, but don't discount what can happen in the hallway, and make sure you leave some time in your schedule to have these kind of things. Don't book every single session. Give yourself time to go and kind of, have these moments. Another important lesson I have for conferences, and one that really applies to before you go to a conference. For me, I look for places to go, not just for the sessions, not just for what the topic is, but places I want to visit because I want to spend some time before, after, maybe during the conference and explore a little bit. Now, this conference was perfect for us because it was in Orlando, Florida. We actually, Jeff C. and I had a meetup the day before and invited people to come out and spend the day with us. So, of course, being at Disney is a great, great thing. But, I've been to other shows. Like I went to a conference a few years ago at Mall of America. Had never been there before. That was really cool. So look for conferences that are in really cool destinations so that you can kind of have a little more than just what the conference provides as far as your vacation experience or your travel experience. My last tip or takeaway from Podfest is you find some a group of people that you can spend time with at the conference, just like the hallway sessions. Be open. I was very lucky. The first time I went to Podfest Expo, I knew some people there, so I was able to, kind of go there with already knowing some folks and being able to hang out with them a little bit. But some because of them, but some just because of reaching out and being open to it. I've met some really cool people at this conference over these past 2 years, and that's not only does open it up you for additional networking things you can do during the conference, but just to have some other people that are in your same kind of niche, maybe a different topic, but that are, for podcasts. It's other podcasters and people wanting to build their show and grow their show. So it was really cool to be able to sit down and talk with people, at dinner, have conversations, and kind of, we didn't, of course, talk conference and business the whole time, but it came up, and it was great to have these exchanges and figure out what other people were struggling with, and hearing that, hey, oh my gosh, I'm having that same issue, or I had that same issue, or it's really cool. And I know one dinner, it was really interesting. I was down at one end of the table, and we were talking about SEO, and while we were helping somebody kind of think through his SEO strategy, there was all kinds of things that I was like, oh, let me write that down. Oh, this is a great idea. So you never know what's going to happen. So open yourself up, but not just to have those hallway sessions, but find a way to really network and find some people to hang out with. I know, like at this conference, there was a really cool app that you could go to meetups and go to other social events to kind of find some folks. It even like showed you who was from your area or maybe in the same podcasting niche. So yeah, leave yourself open. So I hope these are a few takeaways that maybe will help you next time you go to a conference. Again, they're a great thing. Not always going for the session. There's so many other things at a conference that are going to make it worthwhile. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Gowder's on the Go, and look forward to seeing you next time.